setting up a Bedrock WordPress site with Moss sysadmin and using your own cloud VPS server. We've used, of course, UpCloud for this. You can use your own server instance. It's really easy to get going. So we've done everything. We've set up a workspace, hooked up our website, connected our GitHub repository to it, and set it up to ingest the Bedrock system using Composer. So we've even set up the persistent.env file. What we need to do now is go ahead and create the .env file with all of our credentials and set it up and do the deployment, and then we should be able to see our WordPress instance up and running. So what we want to do is we want to go into here and make sure we can see our .env file, which is great. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Vim editor, which is pretty simple, just to go in, and you can use your own nano or whatever you want to do. You can even use your code editor. But for me, I've turned off the hidden files, so it's a lot easier for me just to go in there and just directly edit the file. So that's great. So we can go in there and start inserting the database name and details. So we can just go into the Moss administration panel and look for those details inside of here. So I want to go into, I don't know which one's which. We've already created these before, so I have a feeling that we've got this. Hang on, we'll just check that out. So Moss Bedrock site. So the database we need to get on here is the Moss Bedrock WP one here. So Bedrock DB test. So I go in here and we get the database and username. So I can copy that and set that up into here. And then we want to copy the password. So we can just go in. Remember how I said before we didn't need to actually write the password down? Exactly right. We can just copy it from here. And then we can go ahead and put it into our file. Easy as that. So we go ahead and just go through here. We don't really need to touch anything else except we need to make this into production, and we need to set up the URL that we have for the website in here. So if we're going back into here, we should be able to go into domain and look at the A record here, and we can copy it and then go here and paste it. Or actually, we probably need to put a HTTP in front of it because it didn't come along. So HTTPS, we set up, and we've got everything in there. So what we need to do is generate the salts as well. So we can just quickly go in here and do that, and I'll just pause the video and set this up. It's going to take a little while in the text editor to do that, but we'll just copy the env format here from the URL that you visit here. Very easy to do. There's a YAML format if you need that as well. We're just going to go in and we're just going to copy those details into the rest of this file. Okay, now that we've done that, we've set it all up, it's ready to go. We just go ahead and exit and save the file. So just double checking that we've got all those details in there. We'll just go in there again, and looks like everything's good. Never can be too careful. So that's all been set up for us, and that's fantastic. So we want to go in there and set up our deployment ready to go. So we go in here and go into deployments and go into deployment flow. So the one thing that we need to put in here is to put the Composer install. We need to definitely do this. Otherwise, we won't have Composer install on the remote server and it won't work. So we need to do that. It's part of our workflow. So now that's done, we hit update. It's fantastic. So what we want to do is we want to deploy this now. So you can put in some of your other scripts that you might want to run inside of here, which is great to do that. So we can see everything's linked up with our GitHub, and you can even set up push to deploy here. So as soon as you push something into your master remote branch, it's going to kick off this deployment process. You don't even need to do it in Moss itself, it's automatic. But in here, we're going to do it manually. So we click on here and set up deploy, and away you go. So that's going to go ahead and deploy it from the remote repo in GitHub into our website, right? But the one thing that we need to do before we visit the site, and it's something that's really crucial, is that .env file. So we need to remote in and set it up into the shared area of our site. So something we need to touch on before, we created a sudo access into the server, right? But we created some new profiles when we set up those websites. So we need to set up the SSH access for them as well. So we're actually on the menu here, we've got the Moss WP Bedrock here, the site. We're looking at the SSH access. So I'll just get rid of this admin Bedrock. It's actually created before. We'll just go ahead and remove that one. So we've got the users here, and we've got up this SSH keys as well. So we don't need to go ahead and create another set of SSH keys for this user and that user. I think we should be able to use the same set of SSH keys whether you're using the top admin or using the user associated with creating the website. So just telling the difference. This is the overall sudo admin, and this is the owner of the sites that are set up. We need to access this one to get into where the sites are located in their directory, and then go ahead and set up the scoop to transfer the local .env file into the remote repository. So we're just going to go ahead and click on here for setting that up. That's going to take a while to do its business. Okay, so I've created a previous SSH key in here called Moss Demo WP. Now we can use that public key, it's already set up there. We should have it on our system. That's the one that we created before, right? So I can go ahead and turn that on. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can access that through here as well. The SSH key is set up for both of these, whether it's the sudo user here or the user that owns that website that we installed. So we go ahead and just copy this now, and we're just going to go into our terminal to make sure that we can remotely access the website. So this is the sudo user, of course. We could still access it, I think, if we went in there and to this directory, looked it up, cd home, then we just go and list it out. And we can see we have the Bedrock and we have a Moss directory inside of there. So you can access it that way, but it's a lot easier just to go in straight up and just access it through the right user. And there you go. So we'll just clear this up and list the directory. So we can see now we're in where the website is created. So if we go into the CD sites folder here, we can list it out. We've got the Bedrock site sitting within that. So if we CD into Bedrock and do this, we can see everything's in there. What we need to do is get into that shared folder and put in the .env file. That's where we need to set it up there. So we're just going to exit this, and we're going to do a scoop of that file and put it up to this remote server. So we need to make sure that we keep this this file path so we can remember it. So what we want to do is we're going to scoop the .env file, and we want to copy that in there now so we can remember that. And what we want to do is get the file path that we had. It's not even in here. That's a shame. So I'll just create a new window so you can remember what it is. So no help to us. So I'm just going to go in there and find out. Here it is here. It's quite easy actually. You just go back to the Moss control panel, and I just want to go in there and paste it into here, and then we can put colon and little dash mark there. So that's basically pushing our local .env file. Let's remove the SSH, that's not going to help us either. So we're pushing that into the remote folder for sites, Bedrock, and in shared. Let's get rid of this $sign and replace it with another folder. So if I do that, that's now pushed it up there. So let's just check that it's in there where we asked to put it. And we'll go into CD sites. What's going on here? So let's just have a look. So CD sites, Bedrock, shared, listed out, and our .env file is there, which is great. And the great thing is that we've logged in using the web user. We're not doing anything with root and setting up the passwords that are wrong, because if we do it through another pseudo user, it might mean that the file can't be read properly, or we don't have proper permissions to set it up. So it's really good that we do it this way. So what we need to do now is go ahead and deploy with the script for the composer, and make sure our remote Git repository is pushed in to the sites folder with all the Bedrock files that we need to set up the website. So we're going into back up to, we'll click on here to start again, easy, and then go into the site and go into here and go to deployments. Let's check out deployment workflow, and we've got Composer install. That's great. So that's it. So what we need to do is go ahead and deploy. And so let's set up the sequence for us to deploy. Okay, so the deployment took the best part of a minute, so we can check it out here. We can see the log. Yep, we've got an email saying the deployment's okay, and the log seems good as well. So that's a great thing. We can check it out from both ends. We've got those notifications. You can even hook it up with Slack, like I mentioned earlier. So the last thing we need to do is actually go and visit the website. So everything, if we've done it correctly and set it up, we should just be able to go ahead and create the admin user of WordPress and get into the dashboard. So let's click on this link here and start it up. And it took a little while to get rolling, but as you can see now, we're on the famous WordPress installation screen. So let's just create an admin user for the Bedrock website. So we're gonna, oops, sorry, did the wrong field here. So this is called WordPress with Bedrock, and that's our admin user. We'll keep that password, but I'll copy it somewhere nice and handy that I won't forget it. It's really good to keep a strong password. So we just put in kind of any old email in here that we need. We obviously need to have an email in here. I'm just going to probably leave that as it is. If you want to discourage, actually you probably should discourage search engines from going on this type of website. So we're just going to go ahead and install WordPress. So that was pretty fast. Now we're just going to go and log in with those credentials, which is pretty easy to do. So type that in there, and we copy the password that we generated, and we set to log into the dashboard. And away we go. We're into the dashboard. So that's great. We can go through and check it out. We can go into appearance and themes. Now, bear in mind, these themes actually are not in your WP content themes folder. These are sitting with the Bedrock installation in the config. So I would recommend deleting them from here if you don't really want to have them in there. It's just that they're not actually in your repo at all. The themes folder in your repo is just blank pretty much. Same with the plugins, but thankfully if you do go into the plugins, there's nothing in there, and you can go ahead and just start working through that. I'd recommend not adding them through here, and to be honest, you don't even have the option to go and add them remotely here. And in appearances and themes as well, you don't add the themes through here. You do it through your your GitHub or your Git workflow. You go ahead and use Composer or CLI, you install themes and plugins, or you create your own, basically, and then you push them through Git into the remote repository, and then you deploy it to the website. And so that's how Bedrock really forces you to take on a more responsible web application workflow rather than kind of just installing and updating and doing things on your production, not syncing up with your local or staging environment. So that's the real beauty of it. So thanks for watching. It's been really fun setting this up. If you'd like to check out the Moss sysadmin, click on the link below. I've got a link that will take you through to set it up. So it's really good if you can use that, because it's really fantastic. I like using it. And also for UpCloud as well, I've got a link also to set you up with an UpCloud account. They're really easy to use, and I can recommend it really highly. So this is how we've set up a Bedrock WordPress website using Moss sysadmin and using a UpCloud server instance. And I've been trying to get Bedrock with WordPress working for a while, using Docker, using my own server droplets and things like that. Nothing really seemed to work that easily, but what Moss has provided is a really simple solution to get this happening. And not only for Bedrock, you can see it being used for other websites or other web applications as well. So I'm liking it right now. I suggest that you would like it as well. So thanks for watching, and peace out.